When I guard Shabbat, Shabbat guards me. Ki esh mira Shabbat. 1869, three rabbis, one in Louisville, one in Cleveland, and Isaac Mayer Wise in Cincinnati, in the face of the public inattention to Shabbat morning worship, introduced a late Friday evening Shabbat service at a fixed time. That moment, 150 years ago, was one of the most long-lasting successes of the Reform movement, and it was a sea change in Jewish worship. In explaining the desire for enhanced Friday evening worship, Rabbi Isaac Mayer Wise wrote, "Our readers know that innovation for innovation's sake do not suit us. Reforms must have an object. What is the object of this particular one?" He continues, and I'm abbreviating here. First, evening services are much more solemn than the day service. Second, during the hottest months of the summer, in this climate at least, the Sabbath morning service has been neglected. Third, there are a great many in every congregation who cannot attend divine service in the morning. We need hardly remind readers that there are businessmen, clerks, bookkeepers, apprentices, female servants, and even many mothers who cannot leave their houses always in the morning and attend divine service. So Friday evening fixed service, Rabbi Isaac Mayer Wise continues, there is no excuse left to anybody. 7 o'clock in the evening, every Israelite in this city can attend divine service. Those who do not attend their temples on Sabbath morning, and those who cannot. Those who do attend their temples on Sabbath morning, and those who cannot. The old, the young, those who are, and those who are not their own masters can come and spend 1 hour in higher reflection, in worship, in prayer, in divine lessons, and solemn contemplations. All of us who come to Beth Am tonight and to hundreds of Shabbat services across this country stand on the shoulders of that early Reform movement decision to emphasize fixed Friday night worship. If you grew up at a Reform synagogue, chances are Friday nights were the most central part of Shabbat worship. I grew up at two classical Reform synagogues, Holy Blossom Temple in Toronto and Road of Shalom Congregation in Manhattan. And Friday night worship were led from grand, beautiful sanctuaries with professional choirs and clergy wearing black robes while sitting on a high bima. No doubt the worship has evolved at those places and also here at Beth Am. Some places the time of services have changed from 7 in 1869 Cincinnati, maybe later to 8 o'clock, or then to 6 o'clock, or to 6:15 even. If you grew up at a Reform synagogue last century, you might not remember bar or bat mitzvah at all, because in many places that ritual wasn't performed. Instead, the synagogue favored high school confirmation. If you do remember bar or bat mitzvah, you might remember them as part of Friday night evening services. It's likely that the weekly Torah portion was chanted on Friday evenings. Some places, including Central Synagogue and Temple Emmanuel in Manhattan, still chant Torah on Friday evenings. Many of you likely use this blue siddur. Raise your hand if you remember this one, right? Gates of Prayer, the Reform Movement prayer book that came out in 1975. GOP, don't worry, this isn't a political sermon though, sought to accommodate new trends in Jewish life while maintaining traditional patterns of Reform worship. The Gates of Prayer included 10 themed services for Friday night, all in contemporary English, as well as an unprecedented selection of new prayers, readings, and meditations to accompany the Hebrew text. For the first time, there were services for Holocaust commemoration and Israel Independence Day, and an extensive section of song texts. The first CCAR, Central Conference of American Rabbis prayer book, became available in optional Hebrew opening format, and it signified the Reform movement's growing openness to tradition. The Gates of Prayer achieved immediate success, selling 50,000 copies in its first year. If you're of a certain age, perhaps the Siddur you prayed with was the Union Prayer Book. Let's see a show of hands for the Union Prayer Book. The UPB was published in 1895 and was shortly used, and this is according to the Central Conference of American Rabbis yearbook, by the 55 most prominent congregations in the United States. The Union Prayer Book revised attempt to respond to the theology of the day. The Union Prayer Book, also called the Revised Union Prayer Book, attempted to respond to the theology of the day and eliminated not only references to a personal Messiah or the Davidic dynasty, but also all references to Kohanim, to priests, and to sacrifices, including eliminating the entire Musaf service, the additional service, along with references to chosenness and to the return to Zion. Temple Emmanuel in New York City still has some of its services which uses the Union Prayer Book. My mom tells the story of visiting her grandmother on Rugby Road in the Midwood section of Brooklyn on Shabbat evening. Her grandmother and anyone else who was in the house would gather together and listen to WQKR 96.3, not for rock and roll or the music of the day, but for the radio broadcast of Shabbat services from Temple Emmanuel of the city of New York. My mom remembers sitting in her grandmother's Brooklyn living room, and if one of the Emmanuel rabbis said, "Please rise," her grandmother made everyone in the entire room stand. Throughout our history, we found special and meaningful ways to welcome Shabbat. I know for many Jews by choice in our congregation, they say that the part of Judaism that they are most taken with is Shabbat. So tonight and tomorrow at Beth Am, and in this month, communities across the globe, we are celebrating something called Shabbat Unplugged, a program coordinated and sponsored by the Jewish organization Reboot, which created something called the Shabbat Manifesto. The Shabbat Manifesto, in the same spirit as the slow movement, slow food, slow living, was created by a group of artists and writers and filmmakers who, while not particularly religious, felt a collective need to fight back about our increasingly fast-paced way of living. Here are the 10 components of the Shabbat Manifesto. 1, avoid technology. 2, connect with loved ones. 3, nurture your health. 4, get outside. 5, avoid commerce. 6, light candles. 7, drink wine. 8, eat bread. 9, find silence. 10, give back. 10 simple, powerful, positive actions, deeply rooted in our tradition, that challenge us to unwind, unplug, relax, reflect, get outdoors, and be with loved ones. Each of the components of the manifesto is created so that we have the ability to interpret and to seize it for ourselves. Rabbi Art Green writes, Shabbat is needed now more than ever. We Jews should be missionary about Shabbat. It may be the best gift we have to offer the world. The idea is that one day a week, you say no to our new master, the computer. You turn off the modem or the iPhone. Look away from the screen and toward those around you. Exercising a talent that may become rare in this age, the cultivation of real community. Rabbi Green says, my bumper sticker slogan for Shabbat reads, Visit people, not websites. Beth Am has been participating in Shabbat Unplugged for a number of years now, and our Shabbat committee has committed to promoting and advocating Shabbat Unplugged. In just a few minutes, you'll see a slideshow that promotes some of the work of our Shabbat committee and how Beth Amers unplug. I know so many people here tonight for whom Shabbat is the most important part of the week, a chance to connect with loved ones, to reflect on the week, to sleep, to eat good food, to spend time refreshing and recharging. Take our member, Marlene Levinson. Shabbat is such a special day, a time when everyday responsibilities are put aside. All week, I look forward to celebrating it with my sister Rosalind. Almost every Shabbat morning, I attend Torah study at Beth Am, and then drive to the Jewish home in San Francisco, where Rosalind has lived for the past 4.5 years. I try to arrive in time to enjoy the oneg following services conducted by Rabbi Shelley Martyr that my sister regularly attends. Afterwards, we spend a peaceful afternoon listening to music, going through the New York Times, or sitting outside in the fresh air. Although Rosalind can barely speak, her eyes speak for her. It is remarkable how she can communicate and how we understand one another. I know that before too long, these times will become a cherished memory. But for now, every Shabbat I celebrate with her fills a space nothing else can. Or our member, Debbie LaFetra, who's streaming right now. How is Shabbat special to you? I ask my 17-year-old daughter. She gives me a look. How do I answer that? Shabbat just is. It's what we've always done. I press her a bit, but the best she can do is, Shabbat just feels different and special. It's removed. Friday night and Saturday morning, it's Shabbat. I think of all the things we do on Shabbat. We light candles and eat homemade challah. We bless the children. We go to Torah study in the Torah Minyan. We listen to Jewish music and play music and sing. Sometimes we have family reading out loud time. We have discussions. We've developed our own little family rituals and Shabbat inside jokes. But for all the things we do, I think my daughter captured the essence of it. Shabbat simply is a space and time removed from the ordinary, a reliable weekly break from daily concerns, a special recurring theme in the rhythm of life. Avoid technology. Connect with loved ones. Nurture your health. Get outside. Avoid commerce. Light candles. Drink wine. Eat bread. Find silence. Give back. What a wonderful gift we are given each week, the gift of Shabbat. May we open our hearts to the majesty and joy of Shabbat. Tina's going to